Kick out the jams, motherfucker!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Machtails from the Cantina Live, episode number 50. On tonight's show, some really good friends will be stopping by to help us celebrate our 50th live episode. Show producer Matthew Rooney will be behind the board this evening. Brother Rich Brindle will be stopping by for a cheer and a beer. Longtime friends of the show, Sean Hines and Glenn Nelson will also be here to celebrate.
Do you want another drink?
Good friend, brother, and fellow Babu Freak, Tyler Page will also be stopping by, along with show producer Antonio from New Jersey.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
Sit back, crack open a cold one, smoke if you got 'em. I am your show host and documentarian that brought you the Force Among Us, the Force Within Us, the Walkers Among Us, the real fans of this saga, and we are live inside the Wampa Cave. Let the tomfoolery and hijinks begin. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 50th live episode special. Strap yourselves in, and I'm looking forward to having a great conversation with so many people that are a huge part of this programming. Some friends we haven't seen in a while. But anyways, I want to thank you guys for joining in on tonight's show. The drinking word of the night, and do this only if you're 21 and over, and please do it responsibly. Every time you hear the word live, raise your glass, a cup of cheer, if you will. It is the holiday season, but this is not the holiday show, even though we will be teasing that throughout the 1 hour episode. I cannot thank my Patreon supporters enough. You guys are truly the reason why this show is still going. You guys, the audience. So for those of you that haven't thrown in $2 a month to at least enjoy the very, very popular Mocktails podcast, very popular in the Mocktails community, $2 a month, don't be an Ebenezer Scrooge. Come on, join the celebration, man. Join the celebration. I just got done posting my 1,000th Patreon exclusive post. And again, I raise my glass to you guys. We are going to hear from Brother Rich Brindle tonight, and we're going to find out what he is raising his glass to. Brother Glenn Nelson is going to be on the show, and I would love to bring on, first and foremost, my show producer that makes it rock behind the scenes, Brother Matthew Rooney. Matthew, welcome to the show. As always, I appreciate you, everything you do back there, man. I really do.
Hey, everybody, and I guess it's showtime.
It is showtime, just like that. You know, I mean,
That was a baseball-related joke for your audience who don't follow baseball news.
Well, yeah, it's the hot stove season too. You know, are you a hot stove guy? Are you following the Dodgers off season?
I have been, especially yesterday. So yeah.
Yeah, so they did sign Ohtani then.
Yes.
That's something.
I was taking a nap. I was taking a nap in my living room, and I had the beep, and it was like Shohei Ohtani signed with the Dodgers, and then like 10 seconds later, Tyler Page texted me and said they just signed Ohtani Christmas early for you, and I was like, yeah,
Christmas early for Dodger Nation for sure. That's a really, really, really cool thing, something to be excited about. But I'm excited to talk about a little bit about the history of this live show that we've been doing now since January. You got some facts for us? I know Ian Savage is usually our producer that handles the facts. You got anything you want to share with some of the history on this show?
I do. I've typed up some little things here I'm going to post up, and then hopefully you can comment on some of these Mocktails from the Cantina live show facts. So the first one is, did you know the very first Mocktails live show aired on January 30th, 2021?
Yeah, that is going to be coming up on 3 years if I do my math right. In January, right? Man, hard to believe. Seems like yesterday. That first show, I went back and kind of, did a little homework today and rewatched the beginning of it. And it was essentially like a big show and tell segment that I did, pieces from my collection. I made a drink that's how I started the first show. I made a drink. Brother Barry Harmon, who has played bartender on this show before, he's not making a drink tonight, but it's fun making a drink for the audience. I don't know how the audience feels about that, but I remember the craziest thing that I did on that first show was I walked away while it was rolling to grab something off my wall. That's the only time that I have actually walked away from the camera. I will never do that again. But yeah, it was very, very bare bones. I think I was maybe using my laptop microphone, possibly, but anyways, we've come a long way. We've come a long way from that. And a lot of you guys have tuned in since that first episode. So there's some facts on that episode right there.
Well, my second one that I have here is, did you know, according to the YouTube stats, the most watched live episode is number 39, which had just one short of 1,400 views on it. What episode was that, Chris? Why was it so much watched?
Yeah, you know what that was? That was the Empire Strips Back, Malort, and the Mando 3. So what does that tell you? That sex and booze draw the audience. I tell you, I went back and I looked. I'm like, what was the most viewed Mocktails show? And when I first saw that number, I was like, whoa. I'm like, we have one episode we actually have an episode that's well over 1,000 views. And the only thing that I could think of was because we talked about that show. And unfortunately, I never made it to that short run show that was in Chicago over the summer. And I originally invited those guys on to be a guest on the show, but I sent them one email and that was it. So I was not overly aggressive about trying to get them on the show. And I felt like, well, hey, this is a great topic. Actually, that was the show that maybe it was Barry Harmon that got us the 1,400 likes, because that was the episode that he actually made a Malort drink. The legend, the Malort is, I tell you, man, if you don't live in Chicago, it's like everybody wants to know, what is this poison that people put in our body? I guess it kind of is. It kind of is. But Barry made some good drinks with that. But yeah, crazy, right? Episode number 39, which was this year.
Well, speaking of episode numbers, this is advertised as the 50th live episode special, but this is actually the 77th live show, or at least that's what you were telling me.
Yeah, not to confuse people. I've mentioned this before. So the live show itself is something that is organized. We're doing the name draw again tonight. This is something that was a guarantee. The other things that we had Billy Mack on. We used to do Music Mondays. We did a lot of baseball episodes. We actually did 16 baseball episodes. We did a holiday music series. We did some music series. We did a Kitty Mocktail in there as well. So there are 27 official live shows that are out there on YouTube. So it's really going to confuse the fuck out of people when we do our 100th show, which is not too far away, because they'll be like, well, wait a minute. Didn't you just celebrate your 50th live episode? So not but I don't know why I didn't number those in the beginning. I didn't. I can't go back and erase that, because then it's going to fuck everything up. But yeah, this is the 77th live show, but the 50th organized, planned, and official show.
Well, since we started doing these live shows, I mean, I wasn't there when I say we back in January of 2021, but there's been a live show every month except this past month, which I know that we tried to get it together on the very last day of the month to have a live show, but it just couldn't work out because of your work schedule. But that was a 34-month-long streak that was broken.
Yeah, crazy, right? I got so overwhelmed with the work and going to Disney. That was my champagne problem of November. But I just got so bogged down. And you know what? You can't force art. You can't force art. And tonight, I was feeling the show. I got the guests lined up, somewhat in advance, a couple days in advance, anyway. And we had the whole 50th planned. And I just said, you know what? I got to cancel it because I had to wake up at about 3:30 a.m. to work in downtown Chicago, and I just did not want to do that to myself. So I guess real life finally broke the live show streaks that have been going for 34 months. Unbelievable.
So you're not going to say that this live show is the live show for November and then do another live show next week and say that's the one for December.
Well, no, we're not going to do that. But I will tell you, looking back on it, we've done several live shows within a month. And you know what? I've been still keeping up with the Patreon stuff. So people that are supporting the show on that, that way, they are definitely getting the Machtails fix that they might be missing on, let's say, once a month guarantee kind of thing. But we are going to be doing at least 2 shows for December that will be numbered. So by the time we turn the calendar, we'll be on show number 53. And of course, these are going to be holiday themed ones. And I'm going to talk to brother Tyler Page in just a minute here, who was a big part of the show before you came on, and made a lot of those shows happen for me behind the scenes. And I'm going to be talking to him about a live show that I'm going to be doing with him in Chicago as well.
Well, speaking of that, did you know there have been a total of 3 Mocktails live shows that were actually performed in front of a live audience on location?
Yeah, just 3. Kind of hard to believe, right? And 2 of those were this year. The first one was Anaheim Celebration. And the 4th one is going to happen at the Alulu Brewery in Chicago on December 21st. So yeah, hard to believe that I've only done 3 so far on location, if you will, remote shows. I don't know what they call it in the business. I know my brother Jimmy Mack and brother Suds has the right terminology for that. But yeah, it's hard to believe that I've only done the show from inside the Wampa Cave mostly. But I'm looking forward to that. And you got any other facts for us?
No, I think that was the last one, unless you had something else that you wanted me to talk about.
No, you know what? I am going to circle back with you, though, towards the end of the show, and we're going to chat about Return of the Jedi. I feel like we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of Jedi, and I feel like, wow, it's already December. I'd like to celebrate that a little bit more, So yeah. I appreciate you and everything you do behind the scenes, and we'll catch you towards the end of the show, man. Without further ado, somebody that I guess passed the torch to brother and show producer Matthew Rooney is good friend and brother Tyler Page.
Hey!
Tyler, I know you are I know you are a Rebel Force Radio exclusive with the Babu Freaks. I appreciate you stepping out of the box there and kind of spending a little time with me on this show. I couldn't do the 50th live show special without having you on because you were such a big part of this show for, a long time in the beginning. I remember I was doing it by myself, and then you were like, hey, man, can I come on? Can I help you? And and you really did. You really did. And I want to thank you again for getting us from there to here. So yeah. I raise my glass to you, man.
Well, cheers, man. It goes both ways. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to kind of cut my teeth and kind of have a routine show that I was working on. for those first year or whatever it was. I don't know, but it was a really important time, and it was awesome to bond with you over that and get to know your audience a little bit better. So
yeah, and
happy to be here, man.
Same to you, man. You've said something that resonated with me. Barry has as well, but you had said quite a few things that had stuck with me. This one was from Barry. Barry said he would rather have an audience that is intimate and contributing to the community in a positive way than having a YouTube show with 3,000 plus people that are not as close to it. And the thing that you had said that was kind of in line with what he said was there's a little community here in the Mocktails side of things. And after you said that, I started hearing that from a lot of people that are part of the Patreon community. And it's really cool that this thing has turned into a community. I had no idea. Speaking about community, Dale Morris, he guy chimes in. I'm not going to do the hey because I'm going to save that for you, Tyler.
Hey!
Sure, boys, enjoying a dill pickle goes and enjoying the live stream. You know what, Tyler? Didn't you and I share a pickle beer? And
probably. I love pickles, so that wouldn't surprise me. But I've shared a lot of beers.
Like
so
when I had that pickle beer, man, I couldn't finish the damn thing.
Could be.
It was like I was at Moe's Tavern drinking the pickle, like the Ryan.
Yeah.
I was drinking a beer today that I know you were not a fan of. You're not a fan of smoked porters, are you?
No, I hate smoked beers, dude.
So I was having one of those today. Those
it tastes really like I'm drinking liquid smoke. That stuff that they
that you cook with. Yeah.
Yeah.
You put like a drop in. Crazy. Hey, I'm going to bring on somebody that is definitely a fellow freak. Somebody that has contributed to this show. Definitely the brand. Let me hear it.
Hey! I don't usually go all out on those because Jimmy doesn't like the super loud ones, but I don't care about doing it to you.
I always do it, man.
I'm already loud as fuck as it is. So it's perfect. Be as loud as you want. Hey, I want to at least acknowledge you guys and thank you, Jimmy, for having you guys on Rebel Force Radio, but you guys can be caught and listened to and consumed on it's the Patreon community there, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you can catch Barry on a recent episode of the main show, and any of the live shows I'm call screening. So
I'm waiting for the day that there's like an RFR wiki and they like go all in and we each get entries and they like chart the story of everything, because sometimes I forget myself. I'm like, how did I meet Tyler? When did I first meet Jimmy? But it really all goes back to just like Chicago area hangouts,
True.
And it all goes back to Star Wars. It really does.
Yeah.
Barry, I want to talk to you about how important your talent is, because you are really like the face of it. I mean this sincerely. You are the one that has created the brand here. I mean, you are the image. You are the guy that's designed this image. You are the guy that's given us this brand, if you will. How do I say this? The look of the brand, Yeah. I mean, everything that you guys see and know when it comes to the imagery of this show, it comes from you. Now, you've done some really cool things. You've done the holiday stuff. You've done the live stuff. Do you have a favorite piece of Mocktails art that you would say is your personal favorite that you've done, or a character?
I think you're showing it now. I really like the Wampa one because it. I always the style that I'm drawing in on these. I have a lot of different styles. I wouldn't say this is my personal style, but what I tried to do is emulate like the Getty Tartakovsky Clone Wars and a little bit of the old Droids cartoon. So I kind of like,
I get droids from that, man.
Yeah. And so and I did one for Tyler too for his beer label, and that was more Tartakovsky, And then yours is a little more droids. And in this case, like, you know, I never really thought about what does the Wampa look like. Yeah, there's Tyler showing it. And so I always like drawing something I've never drawn before because you get intimate with the details. And now, like, I know that Wampas have those little horns, that they have black paws, that they've got like little human noses, like upturned noses with gray. And so, and in the case of this one, it's got like a, I don't know, it reminds me of a sports team, you know? Like
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
sports
you know,
logo.
I would say, and brother Brad Riverdale is watching as well. He's a huge fan of droids, and I really dig the droids vibe, and the Clone Wars micro series is what I refer to it as anyway. You know, I'm a big fan of that. I want to say maybe fun and campy versus realistic animation like anime itself, or even some of the stuff that was in the later Clone Wars series. I prefer like the Mickey Mouse kind of stuff, you know, the fun stuff. I mean, I feel like that's what animation started off as, and I believe that's really the heart of animation. And I look, this really captures the feeling for this show too, you know, fun and campy. So again, man, thank you, and thank you for whipping up that Wampa holiday edition. That was just created, folks, like 3 days ago.
Yeah, it was.
And it makes sense, right? You got the snowflakes behind the Wampa. It's like, okay, this is very Hoth-esque, right?
Yeah, and this one too, I was grateful that it was a pretty easy edit, just a few redrawings of the hands.
Can I ask a question? Did Chris ask specifically for the feet?
The feet? Oh, like the exposed feet of the
Yeah.
No, that's
that
just
was
what they
Alfie that asked
have.
for the
Again, going back to like looking at the details of things, like I never really think of what these girls look like outside of that brief shot of them. But yeah, they don't wear shoes. It seems like a Twi'lek thing. They're all right going shoeless.
Yeah, well,
You know, I mean, Alfie has more of a foot fetish than I do, but yeah, it kind of makes sense. I can see why Tyler
I'd ask.
Tyler asked that question, you know. And of course, this is the image that we used for ICCC Music City, and I chose something appropriate for this time of the year. The girl, which would be on my right, with that star guitar, that is from the Weasel guitar player from the River Bottom Nightmare Band from Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. But I should have given her like a Sun Records kind of look.
Did you see they have a live show now? Emmett Otter Live, a stage show
Yes,
downtown?
I promoted that here in Chicago.
Yeah.
I am super excited to attend that, and we'll be talking about that on the holiday show.
That's great.
Here next week. But man, I am a huge fan of that. So if you guys are in Chicago, you guys are in the Midwest, and you guys are Emmett Otter fans, it's at the Studebaker Theater downtown Chicago. Very, very intimate theater.
Very fitting too, Studebaker, right? Because the Muppet movie, right? Don't
Yeah,
they drive a Studebaker?
they drove the Studebaker.
Yeah.
I thought of that as well. Actually, anytime I hear the car name Studebaker, I always think of the Muppet movie. Speaking about intimate venues, you guys do a live trivia on a regular basis at Alulu Brewery. This is where Jimmy and Jason did the Rebel Force Radio show during Celebration in 2019. Tell me a little bit about this, because I need to know more about it, because I am filling in for you, Barry. I know you were quizzing me the other day when we were hanging out with Jimmy Mack, because I know you want to make sure that I can fill in your shoes properly, but I am just a special co-host guest.
Right. Yeah, Tyler, why don't you tell him? I always say the wrong thing.
I don't know if you do, but we started this back in like September, where we were doing a monthly trivia show just to kind of get people in the door to trivia, into Lulu and experience the ambiance, the great beer, and the great food. And we were honored to be there. Paul, the owner, one of the investors, kind of asked us to do it, and it's been a really fun time. We've been filling the room, which has been really exciting. And we give out, some gift certificates, maybe some other little prizes that are Star Wars related. And unfortunately, Barry can't make it because of the holiday season. So, Chris, you were the next logical guest, and you'll fit in right in, and you'll do a show before trivia, and we'll just have a good time, man. You can have some spotchka. That was a really cool ad that he did. You can have like a blue beer. It's a themed menu, themed drinks. We go all out for this kind of stuff. So
I really like the Ray's quarter portion. Those were really good.
Yeah, I've never had it.
Of course, he is a fan himself.
Oh yeah.
So this is an event for fans by fans, and I appreciate you reaching out to me and asking me to fill in Barry's shows there. And I'm looking forward to doing a 30-minute live show beforehand. It's gonna be a very, very festive night. And now, are we doing Star Wars trivia that's more holiday oriented?
Yeah. So if you're thinking about what should I study up? Should I do anything like that? I would say just there's so many Star Wars holiday connections. It's hard to see where we're gonna pull questions from. But think about the movies that came out around the holidays. I would think about dates. I would think about the holiday special, any of those. So that's probably where we're going to pull our questions from.
Yeah, I got to share something with you guys too, because Jimmy, no, it was Paul. He had shared something with me when we went to Imperial Oak with Jimmy and the gang. He had said that he had asked you guys to tone it down and think about, these are more casual Star Wars fans, because the guy that won the first time had to only get 6 right out of 20 to win the prize.
Yes. Yeah.
So, do you feel like there's more casual beer drinking fans that show up instead of like the hardcore people that, I know Barry was asking me some questions that I had to kind of think about.
It's a local spot, So if it's your local hang and they got trivia, you go upstairs, you'll try it out. We want those people to have fun too, So
yeah. You don't want to make it so hard. Like,
but we want to reward the Star Wars fans because you're
Chris,
one of us.
Let me test you. So I'm going to ask you a question from our very first one, the one that was too hard.
Okay.
Tell me what you think of this. So, Darth Vader's chest piece has some writing on it. What language is it in, and what does this translate to?
Oh, you know what? You got me. If I could guess, going back to how I would guess Arabic, but that's probably wrong.
No, it's ancient Hebrew, and it translates to his deeds will not be forgiven until he merits.
I didn't even know that second part still.
Now here's one from the most recent one. So this character is the one out of the main cast to sing in the Star Wars Holiday Special. I'm not even giving you the multiple choice because I bet you'll get it.
Question one more time.
This character is one out of the main cast to sing in the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh, Carrie Fisher.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
we've transitioned.
I was gonna say B. Arthur because she's saying too, but she wasn't
you're
a main
right. The
cast
multiple
from Star
choice
Wars.
would have been Han, Leia, Luke, Orlando.
Okay. Yeah. No. That's. I mean, Carrie Fisher's singing bit in that holiday special has been kind of featured in all the other little specials about the holiday special before, the film that Kyle Newman was a part of came out. So that was,
right.
I would think that one is a little too easy. So, but the Vader chest piece,
not everyone got the Leia one though. So I think it's for us.
kidding.
It's right.
They're
in
like there was a
sweet
Star
spot.
Wars holiday special. Hey, before I let you boyos go, there was one other thing that I want to share with you. And Tyler, you have told me this for quite a while. And I was like, I'm flattered. I'm flattered that this has even come up. But I heard it from the man himself. I'm going to post a quote up here. The only other Star Wars show that I watched and listened to was Machtails from the Cantina. Jimmy Mac.
Yeah.
So, hey, I want to thank Jimmy for everything that he's done in the Star Wars community. He's been an inspiration. And, the fact that he watches and listens to the programming here, I've obviously been friends with him for 16 years now. That's what we got to do as friends too. We got to support one another. I think that's what keeps us alive. And you guys at home watching the show, and you Patreon members, Barry, I got to give you a special shout out, man. You are the second person to become a Machtails Patreon member.
Hey, there we go.
And for you video gamers, Sega Bits, you guys have your Patreon. You guys have your YouTube channel.
We do, yeah.
What, are you still doing the podcast on a regular basis?
Yeah, so we have 2 going. One is Sega Talk. That's every other week. We cover a Sega game, go into its history, development, how it plays, all that sort of stuff. And they're Patreon picks, and we've been blessed to have patrons at our $20 tier picking for us. So I guess you'd call them producers, but they tell us what to do, and it's fun. And then the other one, Swing and Report Show, that's one I do maybe once a month, once every 2 months, and I just keep that one up because I learned it is the longest running Sega podcast like ever. It's been going on since 2010, and every year there's been at least one episode. So I'm like, I can't drop that, especially when there's another podcast that is just a year behind us. So if I quit and they keep going, then I lose that, and I can't do that.
Yeah, you got to keep on going, man. You got to keep on going.
Yeah,
but hey, I want to thank you guys, and I look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Don't be too frightened about this Secret Santa, the white bantha exchange.
Mm-hmm. The rules have changed.
Yeah, the rules have changed. I know it's kept you up at night.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing you guys here next Saturday, and we look forward to seeing you guys at Alulu on the 21st. And after the 21st, when is the next live show at Alulu the next trivia show that you guys are going to do? Next trivia show.
Probably late January, right?
Probably late January, yeah.
Late January. But I would say follow Alulu on social media, maybe Facebook. They posted
that
there.
would be the best
100%.
way to find out. Yep.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks again, man. I really appreciate you guys and everything you've done to and for the show here. We'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.
So long. Without further ado, I think Rich has stepped away from the green room. Oh, no, he's there. Hey, before I bring on Glenn Nelson, we got to do a quick bit with Brother Rich Brendel. Rich, how are you, man? It's the 50th special, man. I know you're hanging in there, right?
Yeah, doing all right. So my cheers tonight it's kind of a melancholy one because it's like the Christmas season. Everybody promotes it as being joyful and all that stuff. But then sometimes people go through a lot of stuff during this time of year and that they can't control. Like, I'm not going to go into details, but you know what I'm talking about. And I think back at like the Christmas Story. Mary was pregnant. She was giving birth any day now and traveling to Bethlehem. It wasn't a picnic for them. So, this is to kind of the waiting period before Christmas and even like embracing that to bring about the joy that really comes from it. So,
hey, amen to that, man. And I look forward to having you on the Christmas show, and I look forward to seeing you next Saturday.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Oh, and this, by the way, it's from the Advent calendar. I think it's from today. It's I don't know much German, but
does it say Morgen die Macht mit der Sein on there?
Yeah, so it's a German one. It's the Costco German one. Tyler said this was yesterday's, but it came out as today's for me. But he said it's really good. So, cheers.
Morgen die Macht mit der Sein. Cheers, brother. And again, the talent of that. You belong in the Guinness Book of World Records, my friend. You even amazed. It's crazy, brother. Hey, well, I love you, man, and I will see you next Saturday.
No problem. I'll see you then, man.
All right. Cheers, man. Take care. Without further ado, waiting in the green room, as musicians usually do spend time in the green room, but maybe not so much virtually. Glenn Nelson, brother, welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, what's going on, man?
How are you, man? It's been it's been a wild ride here, and I thank you for coming on the show to celebrate the 50th live show episode. Man, you've been a big part of all my productions for a long time now, and one of my favorite moments is not really part of the live programming, but it was around this time of the year when we did that Christmas special, and
Yes.
you performed all those songs during 2020. Man, I still don't know how the hell you pulled that off. You know, it was amazing.
Again, that was fun.
Hopefully we can get you to do something like that again for one of our holiday shows before the end of the year. Now, we got the 10th anniversary of The Force Within Us, who you were a big part of that project. And brother Jimmy Mack was he informed me that on the last podcast that Rebel Force Radio did, George Lucas had actually quoted something about The Force Within Us. It has nothing to do with the film that we did. But the fact that he had quoted that, I was like, wow, that is crazy. It is also the 20th anniversary of Elf, the 40th anniversary of The Christmas Story, but we'll talk about that stuff on an episode before the end of the year. But the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, Glenn,
Yes.
Can you bring me back to the very, very first time that you had seen Return of the Jedi, and where does this film rank for you in all 9 of the movies?
Okay, great question. Well, I was 12 when it hit theaters, and I remember, we were poring over magazines, newspapers. I think it was in Newsweek or something, or it was on the cover of my local newspaper. They when the first images I ever saw were of the unfinished new Death Star and the Star Destroyer, that classic image that we can all see in our head. And boy, that really got me excited. That was super cool. And I didn't even say oh, another Death Star, oh boy, here we go. I was like, oh my God, look at that. That's so cool. And then as always, there were lines around the theater, huge hype. And I remember just wondering how it was all going to end. Was Luke going to turn to the dark side? Was Vader going to kill him? There's the image. That's certainly one. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, there was just a lot of unknowns, and then we slowly started seeing clips of the speeder chase on Endor, and I don't know, it was upon us pretty quickly. I remember having to wait much longer for Empire. It felt longer waiting for Empire, and I remember waiting in lines around the theater. Whereas Jedi, I think they kind of had streamlined. That thing was showing on a lot of screens, but but then I was 12, and for me, the original Star Wars was definitely numero uno because, I was six. I was 6 when it came out, and they kept re-releasing it in theaters because there's no other way to see Star Wars. And my mom didn't really let us watch a lot of TV, all that jazz. And so our big thing was just going out to see Star Wars. And so whenever they would drop it back in theaters, my mom and I would go. So this is not a joke. I saw Star Wars in theaters 27 times. I saw Empire about 16 times, and I think I saw Jedi about 6 times. So there was a bit of a diminishing return. Plus by 83, movies were getting freaking awesome, dude. So there were so many more movies to go see. Spielberg was riding high. All the great stuff was coming out. And I was older and more into it. But yeah, loved it. How does it rank for me? Star Wars has always been at the top for me. I know a lot of people say Empire. It's top 5 for sure because the original 3 to me can't be touched. Rogue One, however, is right up there. Rogue One is probably number 2 or 3 for me. So Jedi, let's say it's safely 4, and then for 5th, I guess I would say Revenge of the Sith.
What? Okay, so 1983, 40 years ago, it was a big year for obviously Star Wars: Return of the Jedi. I feel like it might have been like the last really, really, really big Christmas with Star Wars because He-Man was out, G.I. Joe was taking over. I believe maybe Transformers were becoming popular. That was more of a what I always like to refer to as the rich kids Christmas gift. Santa in my house in 1984, 85 had a bit of a budget, especially after my dad passed away in 82. But do you recall a very cool, or I should say, a very cool gift? Anything Star Wars, right? But in '83, do you recall any Return of the Jedi gifts that you received for Christmas?
Yeah. Oh gosh. By then, what was the big toy for? I mean, that's a good question, man. Because there's so much toy. Star Wars and Empire was I was a kid, and now I was hitting the teenage years. I think the toys were slowing down, man. I remember getting the cassette, the vinyl, the book. Um, I was into books.
You were getting more of the, I guess the grown up kid Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, I wanted physical media, so I was getting books and everything I could get my hands on. But toys. Um, well, I guess I probably had a stuffed Ewok or something like that. I know I had a pocket doll that I loved. That was my favorite stuffed animal growing up. I had a stuffed Chewie that we saw at ICCC. I said, "Oh my god!" I mean, I think it got thrown out when we did some house cleaning years ago. It just got tossed. I don't think my wife even knew what it was. And but anyway, I saw it for like $80 at ICCC. I was like, "Oh no, $80." Oh well, I'm not buying.
You know what? There's nothing cheap about nostalgia.
And that giant Chewy was $400, and somebody bought it. Remember
It's
that?
crazy, right? So, remind me, how old were you when you saw Return of the Jedi?
So I was 12, and again, it was awesome, dude. It was, but I remember it like it was the end, and there was a finality, and oh, you know what? I think, oh my goodness, now it's coming back to me. I think I read the novelization before the movie. I think I cheated because it came out earlier, and I kind of knew what was going to happen. I think that I think I cheated, but I was excited for the music by then. I was already into music and John Williams, and so.
And of course, the big reveal in that story would be not that Darth Vader is his father, because obviously that was the one before, but that would have been the redemption side you probably knew before you saw the movie. Then,
yeah, well, I mean, we were all pulling for Luke. It wasn't a huge shock that all of our heroes lived. It's still a fantasy, story for kids supposedly, but I've often said on your show, Chris, that to those of us growing up at that time, Star Wars was a religion, and I wasn't a big church going kid back then. My mom didn't go, but I had a very strong sense of morality, right and wrong. Should I do this? Should I not do this? And that morality was given to me by Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. That's exactly. I mean, I wanted to be on the light side of the Force. I wanted to do the right thing, and I remember that, and so I was not shocked that Luke was able, to redeem his father. I just didn't know how it was going to play out and how it was going to look, and it was done beautifully. Did not disappoint, man. That was a beautiful thing. I remember the effects really got scaled up in it too. It was like that was a quantum leap forward for special effects. But by that point, you expected that from,
yeah, it was. Yes, I think they raised the bar so high for themselves, movie after movie, that by the time Return of the Jedi came out, they were achieving things. I remember watching the documentary about ILM on Disney Plus. They were like, "Man, Return of the Jedi." They were like, "We could not." It was so hard for them to outdo themselves at that point because
right.
they felt like they truly had achieved everything that could be even dreamt about, you know, uh, which is fascinating. And you know, George Lucas had always said, and you're living proof of this. He had said that a story with special effects is just it's just eye candy. You know, I'm paraphrasing, but he had said it's all about the story. And the fact that you were not a church going person back then and you learned from good and evil and that you always wanted to do good from seeing Luke Skywalker. I mean, God, I don't think there's any better example of the positive side what Star Wars can do to anybody at any age at that point, you know?
Yeah.
It's so heavy.
And
And I think Return of the Jedi, I think, kind of did that best, you know, especially with Luke being tempted by the dark side the most.
yeah.
And the whole redemption of Vader. I think that is some
Yeah.
of the the
Yeah.
first one is great. It's the first one, but I think some of the heaviness really comes from that final installment of the original trilogy.
Yeah, and if you're a younger Star Wars fan and you're watching Mocktails, I would urge you to seek out a copy of the despecialized version of all three films. But the one for Jedi is really shocking because there's so much CGI in it now, but back then it was a Muppet movie, heavily Muppeted out, like a lot of puppets in that movie, and I really do mourn the Lopty Neck and Yubna. I really
Yeah.
lament those two songs not being in the film. I don't hate, but I don't feel like they needed to change. Lopty Neck, gotta move the street, gotta feel the heat.
Yeah.
Lopty Neck. And of course, Yubna is freaking Yubnub, dude. It's Yubnub.
Yeah, for sure. No, so you're saying that you don't think those should have been removed from the...
I don't know why it had to be changed. I mean, George, I love the special editions. My God, that was a renaissance. The late 90s, when you realized that you weren't a giant loser and that there are other people like you that had shadows.
I never thought I was a loser because I loved Star Wars, though.
I embraced it too, obviously. That's why we're here. But to see all the lightsabers and to see the love, and then when Luke goes, but I was going to the Tachi station to pick up some power converters, and like the whole theater like knows the line, and like it was beautiful experience. Like it was beautiful, the whole thing, because they got released weeks apart in January of like 97 or something.
Yeah, we literally like 2 weeks apart, I believe it was. Yeah, January and February.
Midnight showing and with my brother, and each time there was a new clip of anything, I would grab his leg. I'd be like, oh, it's new, they changed it, super fun watching all that. So I know George Lucas had a lot of fun. We all had a lot of fun with the special editions, but God, there's something to be said for that original version of Jedi with all the Muppets in it. There was really, again, this is not a complaint. I'm just stating a fact. There was nothing wrong with it. And I urge all your younger listeners to go seek that out because it looks really different in many scenes, and it's good.
Yeah, my brother that's younger than me, he was born in 1980. He was not a fan of the CG that came in the late 90s in the Star Wars prequels. And he said it best, and it stuck with me to this day. He said the thing is, yeah, they were Muppets in Return of the Jedi. He's like, but you know why that was great? Because we grew up on it, and it was tangible. It was something that you knew was physically there. And I feel like there's something to be said about that. I mean, a lot of work went into those handcrafted costumes and masks, and not that a lot of hard work did not go into the CGI that followed the films later. Glenn, I got one more question before I let you go. I'm going to bring my old friend Sean Hines on in a bit. But the question that I have, 12-year-old boy, and I might have asked you this. I don't believe I have. But if I asked you it, you got to answer it again. Did you ever, as a 12-year-old boy, did you have a I guess, sexual desire for Carrie Fisher in the slave bikini? Because you were kind of at that age, right? You were kind of at that age like Jimmy was. He's interested in girls at this time. He's older when he sees Jedi. He doesn't really care about the Ewoks so much, but when he sees Leia in a bikini, he's like, wow.
Chris, what do you think?
I'm going to think yes.
Um, there was a poster or a pullout in the LP for the Jedi soundtrack, and it had a picture of Leia in her bikini sitting on Jabba's lap, and that hung on my bedroom wall for most of my teenage years. So I'll leave it at that. Yeah, no, I definitely was attracted to Carrie Fisher. She was so beautiful, and I love how the fact in the '80s we weren't afraid to, like, oh God, I'm going to get in trouble, like make women sexy. Because part of all sci-fi growing up, it was really for dudes, a lot of dudes, and so a lot of dude writers were putting their fantasy stories in there. And a lot of the women were voluptuous and beautiful and sexy, and they weren't afraid to make Padme look beautiful. And I thought she looked great in Attack of the Clones.
Okay, here's a question for you. Who did you find more attractive, Carrie Fisher in a slave bikini, or Natalie Portman in the ripped shirt from the Attack of the Clones Geonosis Arena?
I call her midriff Padme.
Midriff.
Gold bikinis Leia or midriff Padme. I gotta slide it over to midriff Padme, man. That was perfect. She for that period of history, 2002. That really was very, yeah. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Just go to Comic-Con and look. I mean, don't take my word for it. Every guy's hot girlfriend is freaking midriff Padme. So, go figure that out.
Yeah, I feel like for a while we were saying a lot of these. Okay. So, Brother Rich Brendel, this will be my last question for you. Brother Rich Brendel is going to ask it. Ask him about Snow Bunny Padme.
Oh, Snow Bunny. Yeah, great. I mean, George understood what guys wanted, because look at those ILM docs, dude. They're all nerds, just nerd boys, dude. Like, we did not have girlfriends. We were not cool. I mean, we became cool, right?
Yeah.
When we outgrew all that early stuff, but like, that's how we found each other. That's why we talk about Rush and prog rock and yes and whatever else nerdy, D&D and movies and all this stuff. And like,
yeah.
But I'll just say this: like, all my friends from that period, all of us, Toddy Bones and Eddie and Jesse and like all my friends, we all grew up to be teachers, artists, creators, filmmakers, musicians. Everybody, Lucas, Spielberg, and John Williams, the bearded trio, inspired us all to create and be passionate, just like Jimmy and Jason inspired you to start this podcast, and you were inspired by Star Wars to make your own movies. Absolutely. And that was, again, meeting you guys way back when, all of you guys, seemingly all at the same time. It was a huge relief to me that I had found my people, and that we were lost and then we were found. Amen to that. And we found each other, and we're still hanging out all these years later. And again, it wasn't that weird. It wasn't that weird to be passionate for this stuff. It wasn't weird to be a Star Wars fan. It was very, very, we were very normal guys, but just creative people. And thank you so much. One quick story. I was watching a YouTube video and about Star Wars, about the glory days of Star Wars. Very nostalgic. I was even getting a little teary eyed of all the nostalgia in it, from like 77 to to 83. And midway through this video, I pop up, me and Todd Howard and my brother as little kids. I couldn't believe it. We shot a little Super 8 home movie right around 83. Because Todd had just seen the 90125 tour the night before and was wearing the shirt from the concert. And so we had our own movie, our own story, our own space adventurer story. And we filmed it on Super 8. And then later in graduate school, I put sound and dialogue and music to it. And I threw it many years ago. There was a movie called The People versus George Lucas, and they were asking for fan submissions, and I shot it up there to them, and they threw it in the movie. In the end, I didn't care for the movie. I thought it was kind of the attack on George Lucas, and I just forgot I was even in the darn thing. And so there I was, from a clip from that movie was in this doc. And so I called Todd Howard, and then I said, man, look, it's our movie. And he goes, man, that's our legacy, man. We're in the nostalgia. So it was really cool to be experience that. I'm like, yeah, I was definitely there, man, at a very special time.
Well, Chris seems to have dropped off. So I'm going to bring on Sean
Okay.
until Chris gets back. He says he's lost control of the show. So
Uh-oh.
I'm not sure what Chris had in mind for you, but maybe you can fill in a little bit until he gets back.
Well, it's always good to be on the show. You know, we're talking about the anniversary of Return of the Jedi. You know, I mean, we've all got our stories from what we remember back in the day. Funny thing that happened to me when Return of the Jedi came out, I wanted to, I mean, being the diehard Star Wars kid that I was jonesing for this movie. And when it came out, my parents wouldn't take me. And for whatever reason, a couple weeks had gone by, and I still hadn't seen this movie yet. And I'm freaking out. Finally, my aunt comes to the rescue and takes me out to finally go see Return of the Jedi for the first time. And weeks after it had already opened, which was completely out of character for me. And of course, you know, I was like a junkie trying to get his fix to see this movie. And then also regarding Return of the Jedi, it was also the first time I ever had a bootleg. My dad came home one day from work with a video cassette in a brown paper bag, like a bottle from a liquor store or something like that. And it was one of these copy of a copy of a copy kind of bootlegs of Return of the Jedi. And boy, did I watch the hell out of that thing when I had it. While the kitten was good. So I think I probably overindulged in that bootleg to make up for all the time I missed not seeing it when it first came out.
Yeah. Well, Chris is back. I did want to say, he's adding himself. We were talking on the podcast recently, not here on the live show, but on the podcast about Return of the Jedi. And one of the first Christmas gifts I remember getting as a kid that was Star Wars related was the Return of the Jedi VHS tape. Because I was born in '83, so I didn't technically see it in the theater. I was there in my mother's stomach. She was pregnant with me when she went and saw it, but I had grown up watching it like a recorded off a television version. It was missing scenes from the film, and so I watched it like 100 times without seeing these scenes. And then when I got the actual legit VHS tape, I saw some scenes for the first time in it, and
it was like a whole new world.
Yeah, and like to this day, when I watch it, those scenes seem out of place for me.
Oh,
I
wow.
watched it so much before that as a kid.
All you had was the edited for TV version.
Glenn, that video you were talking about, that 8mm tape, do you have that digitized?
Yeah, it's on my YouTube channel. I can send you a link to it right now if you want.
Yeah, I would love to see that, man. I would love to see that. Well, Glenn, again, thank you for your talent. Thank you for sharing so many great stories, and I look forward to having you on the Christmas show, man.
Can't wait.
All right, looking forward to it, man. I'll see you.
Live show.
I'll see you soon. Thanks again, man. Episode 50. Here we go. We're continuing with Sean Hines. I lost transmission. Communication.
Yeah, it's okay. I came in to save the show for you. I put it together for you.
I think my producer Matthew Rooney had saved the show for me.
No worries.
This is why we have producers, ladies and gentlemen. This is why we need producers. Please join Machtails from the Cantina on Patreon. There's always room for more. There's always room for another producer. Travis Dyer has joined us in March, and he is currently just raised his tier to a producer level. We are going to we're going to draw a name tonight on tonight's show. But for you Patreon members that tune in live, Sean, I want to talk to you. We are running up against the hour, but you're a good friend.
Well, we're going to have to go a little long because I'm here now, because now it's time to party.
And we are. We got to go a little longer because this is the 50th live show special. And I got to go back to the very, very first episode that we did. It wasn't the live episode that you were on, but it was the very, very first Mocktails ever live episode.
The first recorded episode, of course, yes.
So it only makes sense that you join us for the celebration of the 50th live show.
Well, thanks for thinking of me, my man. It's all right here,
Always thinking of you, brother. Always thinking of you. Looking forward to seeing you at the Christmas party next Saturday.
Oh yeah, yeah. Where you're gonna try to rig the game so I don't get anything? Is that what you got planned?
You know, you're another one that's been losing sleep at night over this new rule. But hey, it's going to be a lot of fun. But hey, I want to ask you, and maybe Matthew already asked you about this when he brought you onto the show. But where does Return of the Jedi rank for you? And can you take me back to the first time that you had seen it, or maybe even leading up to that moment? This is going to be fandom 1980, maybe even 1982, because I know they were teasing it as revenge on some of these card backs with the mail away offers. Where did Return of the Jedi start for you?
Well, as I was saying while we were waiting for your comeback, I had not gotten to see Jedi when it was released. I had to actually wait a few weeks because my parents, for whatever reason, weren't able to take me. And it wasn't until my aunt came to the rescue and finally took me to see it. And then my dad came home a little while after that with a bootleg VHS copy that I played. It was a copy of a copy, but I played it to death regardless. So that was my first experience with the Jedi as far as actually seeing it goes, and then as far as where it ranks, it's number 3 for me. The original trilogy will always be 1, 2, and 3 in varying orders depending on my mood and stage of life, I guess you could say. But Star Wars Empire Jedi will always be 1, 2, and 3 in my book. But that's a discussion for another day, which we don't need to get into today. Because it's all about the Jedi. And I remember, loving the movie, thought it had a great finale. And it wasn't until like years later, I'm talking like the 90s, when I started to, catch wind of how much people hated the Ewoks. They didn't faze me. I mean, they were whatever, but it didn't faze me when Jedi was in theaters and out and about, and then the Ewok movies, when they got those, yeah, weren't the best movies ever, but they were still Star Wars, and I was still going to watch it. But it wasn't until like the 90s when I finally found out how much people supposedly hated Ewoks and thought that was like the thing that destroyed Star Wars. But to me, I didn't get that. I didn't get that vibe, and it didn't register with me. They were just another creature in the Star Wars universe, as far as I was concerned.
Now, how about you? How about your Leia fetish? Was that a thing, or?
Well, it wasn't at first until I got a movie. It was a poster of Jabba, and everybody with Leia sitting in front of him. It was just something about the way she was laying on her side and those legs positioned the way they were. I don't know. I think that's probably
the poster that hung on Glenn Nelson's wall through his teenage years.
Most likely, it's probably what turned me into a leg man when it comes to the light, the fairer sex, if you will. But that was obviously, nobody. I never thought of Leia that way until that moment. Couldn't figure out why, but then I figured out why.
Hey, speaking about figuring things out, now you got a trailer full of shit. I got a house full of shit. We both have very, very, very big collections that were kind of at our point.
So what you're saying is we're both full of shit.
What? No, I wouldn't say that. I would not say that. We're both at a point
from a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view, no, I don't think so. I don't think we're full of shit. But we do have a lot of stuff. We do have a lot of stuff.
That's what I meant. That's what.
So I got a couple questions about collecting as we're ramping up the 2023 year. And you know what, Sean? I wanted to have you on the show, the Christmas show, but I don't have room for you because the Santalorian is going to be joining us instead. I know you're a big fan of the Santalorian.
Oh, I love the Santalorian. He's my guy, man. He always gives me tips and tricks on where to find all the good stuff.
Sounds like you telling me where to find all the Christmas stuff.
Well, where do you think I get my information from?
From the Santalorian. So, unfortunately, this is the last time we're going to have you on the show for the year. I would say, I might do a little man on the street next the Christmas party. I might do a Machtails podcast episode on the run. But I want to ask you these questions here. What was the latest purchase that you've acquired? Did you acquire anything?
there was two. Recently there was kind of two things. One that I got for myself, and one that my wife bought for me because we've just been wanting it and we haven't been able to find it until recently. So the most recent thing that I purchased was I went with my friend Gunner and Jimmy Mack and Tyler to see the documentary from Kyle Newman, Disturbance in the Force, and it was fantastic documentary. Loved it. Absolutely must see. Even if you don't like the holiday special, this is definitely something to watch. Just for those who want to understand what the craze was even all about when it comes to the holidays, right? And so that's I ordered this off Amazon. This is your copy of the movie that you can get, and it's got all the players that you might remember or have tried to block out from the holiday special.
Might remember or trying to forget. I got to ask you, are there bonus features on this this DVD?
Well, I haven't cracked the cellophane on here yet to actually pop it in, but I don't see anything listed on the back cover, so I'm thinking it's probably just the documentary. Which is fine. There's also, if you're looking for more behind the scenes stuff, there's also a book available to accompany the movie. I forget who the author is, but it's supposed to have more behind the scenes information that may or may not have been presented in the actual documentary. So that's stuff that's also there. And there's a small, from what I understand, a small selection of photos within the book. It's not like, I guess it's not like one of those Time Life magazines you see at the grocery stand where it's just filled with pictures and stuff. This is more of a novelization with a few pictures sprinkled in. So that's I definitely recommend it. It's definitely something worth checking out.
Well, you know what? I got to rewind. It's not okay if that does not have bonus features on there. We're Star Wars fans. We like extra shit.
To be honest with you, there's a lot of. There's some cool extra stuff that they played during the credits. There was a lot of stuff that they showed during the movie that I'd never seen before, behind the scenes stuff, if you will.
Okay, so I mean, the movie. I'm looking forward to seeing the movie. I had to say no to you because I just got back from Disney the day before, and I had to stay home that day.
Realistically, when it comes to the holiday special, this entire movie is bonus features. As far as
amen to that, man. I think that is a bonus feature.
The other thing that I recently acquired, my wife picked up for me. Now, Hallmark every year has their keepsake ornaments that they come out with. And when they first launched back on 4th of July weekend, one of the big ones that they came out with was a damn near, animated display of the Han and the carbon freezing chamber. Now, this thing retails for like $65. And it's been sold out since its release. And we only just got notified. We were put on a wait list. And we only just got notified that it was back in stock like a week ago. So she picked that thing up for me. This is the box that it comes in. I actually got it plugged in here so you can kind of get a look at this thing in all of its glory here.
So that was out of stock, you say?
Yeah, and it still is actually. So if you haven't gotten this yet, you may not get it. And I think
that's the one. That's the one to keep an eye open for then.
Yeah, because this thing, look at that. It's actually, I'll press the button and let it play for a second here. And it takes a little while. What's kind of, of course, my only complaint is it's got all the dialogue playing right now, right?
Yeah.
But there should be a Boba Fett or a stormtrooper standing next to Vader.
There should be, yeah. Well, there should be at least, there should be one of each of those.
Yeah, because the thing starts with Boba Fett's line, he's no good to me dead. So that whole process is in there, and it just seems like you hear this voice, but you don't see the character. That's just the weirdo in me saying that this should have Boba Fett because that's my boy.
I think that's a fair argument. I mean, if you got a scene that includes Boba Fett and you have an ornament that uses dialogue of Boba Fett,
right?
Boba Fett.
Here comes the moment of truth. Check this out. See if it focuses. There we go.
Oh, it plays the music. Oh, he goes down. That is so fucking cool. And this, ladies and gentlemen, this is an ornament.
Yeah. Yeah, this is ridiculous. How are you going to hang this? This thing weighs ridiculously heavy, too. Here it comes. Wait for it. The moment of truth.
Smoke comes out.
Lights. It's got the lights and everything. The only thing it's missing is a smoke machine.
Oh, my God. No wonder why that thing is $60.
And this is a Christmas ornament. Are you kidding me?
Oh, okay. So, Sean, you're always big. I appreciate you doing this too. You're always big on showing me tips on Christmas stuff that comes out. So you just gave me another tip that this is kind of like the Hallmark ornament this year that is like the one to get.
It sure seems like it. I mean, there's plenty. There's things like Boba Fett riding the Rancor and Mandalorian flying with his jetpack with Grogu, and those are still in stock. You can still get those. Those are not. You would think those, would be the ones that have been hard to get. At least me as a Mando fan, I would have thought those to be hard to get. There's even Mando and Grogu as Lego characters. And then there was a couple of limited edition ones. For the Return of the Jedi anniversary, they had R2D2 with his drink caddy from Jabba's sail barge on there, and so yeah. But yeah, this thing's got some meat to it. To put a hook on that and stick it to a branch, you got to put that like near the top of the tree, where all the strong branches are by the star or something like that.
Yeah, you know what? The reason why I don't have this ornament is because I usually like to get the Hallmark ornaments on clearance. That's kind of been my tradition, is to grab these things at 50% off, and especially with this one at $64. But if you're telling me that it's getting hard to get,
it's been hard to get since day one.
I've told you, collector-wise, I told you if you haven't started collecting, don't start now. But sometimes it's better to pay the $64 because the $30 difference that when it comes to the regret of missing it or paying that much more on the aftermarket, the $30 is nothing.
Well, yeah, the going rate on eBay right now is $150 to $200.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to go up to the North Shore where they don't celebrate Christmas, but they celebrate Hanukkah. And I'm going to seek this out at one of the Hallmarks up on the North Shore. Sean, there's been a lot of sales at the end of the year. I feel like I am super fucking overwhelmed with the cyber sales, the Black Friday sales, all of it. Did you make a purchase? Did you make
as far as what?
Like did you get sucked into?
I did not buy anything with the Cyber Friday, Monday, Black Friday. I didn't get to buy. No, I didn't know any of that. Normally, I used to, but now it seems like those sales, those Black Friday sales, seem to start before Halloween now and last until New Year's. So the urgency just doesn't seem to be there anymore for a lot of that stuff. I mean, yeah, certain things. It's going to be like, if you don't get it, you're going to miss out. But I think that there's plenty of stuff out there, where, like I said, I just don't think the urgency is there for certain things, and stuff like that. But for me, every year, I'm always, we're both chasing after all the Star Wars holiday stuff that comes out. And we keep, every time we spot something, we send each other, hey, have you seen this yet? Have you seen it? You know what? I was going to say a picture earlier today. I was at Menards. There's a blow mold Grogu? Have you seen this?
There's a what?
You know what a blow mold is, right?
Yes.
So big plastic sandals.
Those are like the retro.
The retro blow mold, yes.
Yeah.
With the light bulb that you stick in the. They had a Grogu one about 4 or 5 feet tall. In the full plastic blow mold format. I had never seen that before. It was like $60.
$60 at Menards.
Yeah. And they had, it wasn't like they were running out. They had like 20 of them when I was there. So
did you buy one?
Not yet. I thought I was going to pull the trigger, but because they had so many, I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait on this. There was a few other pressing things I needed to pick up first. Before I go out.
It's funny if we had producer Michael Wistock on or Brother Alfie Jimenez, you talk about a blow mold, their mind goes one way. Our mind, of course, goes vintage Christmas.
Yeah, Alfie would start talking about the smell of wet pennies or something like that.
Yeah, or his foot fetish.
Exactly.
Man, I am looking forward to recording some audio and some video, if you don't mind, at the Machtails Christmas party next Saturday. The reason why I chose the diorama, I'm going to be honest with you, because you make the coolest fucking dioramas.
Oh, I hate to do it. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to make a diorama this year, but I know you like my dioramas.
Yeah.
I always have fun with it because they've been coming out with some cool stuff lately. But I'll just tell you straight up right now, it's going to be really hard for me to come up with something this year, but we'll see.
Well, hey, you know what? I'm going to have everybody participate. I got the Salacious Crumb laughing contest. We did the Chewbacca growl in the past. I don't care if it's unrehearsed or not. Everybody has to participate in that. I remember.
I don't know. I feel like I should be doing the Jabba Hutt laugh as opposed to.
Hey, you know what? It's funny. You got that on your shirt. I got that on my pint glass.
Hey, simpatico. What can I say?
Hey, Sean, thank you. Hey, and I'm gonna pull the name out of the fucking hat here, the stocking.
I'm sensing a theme here.
yes, we are doing the Patreon name draw. Sean, I'm looking forward to seeing you next Saturday, man. Thanks again for being part of the Mocktails 50th live show episode. I really appreciate you, man. Love you, brother. Hey, before I let you go, this is very important, man. This is super, super important. I am not going to sing, but I do want to give you a shout out and much love to you, brother. Your birthday's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yeah, 5-1. I'm one step into the 50, one step more longer, one more step into the 50s. 51, if you can believe it.
Your 50th birthday was a lot of fun last year. That was a big deal. To me, it's funny, your 50th birthday, to me, right now, at this moment, seems like it was a couple years ago.
It does feel like it. And my body tells me that it feels like it was a couple years ago. When I tell you everything goes downhill after 50, they freaking ain't lying, man. I feel like I'm just falling apart at the seams here. You know, my knees are killing me. My legs are killing. I'm like, come on, man, work with me, buddy. What's to get this? I used to like to say, or I still say, you're only as old as you allow yourself to feel. My body's feeling pretty messed up right now. So, you know.
It's a quote Indy, man. It's not the years, it's the mileage.
It's the mileage. It's most definitely. You know what I mean?
You got plans tomorrow?
My wife and I, we always set aside my birthday to do something special, just the two of us. She treats me out to a nice day out, a nice dinner at the end of the day. It's always a fun time. We always enjoy, doing that, and I always look forward to it. And then we'll do something with my family next weekend, because it's also my nephew's birthday in December as well. So we put the two together and we just have a small family. I only do the big parties when I hit the milestones anymore, like 50. Next one will probably either be 55 or 60. 55 will probably be the next one because of Sammy Hagar. I can't be 55. That will be the theme.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Have a great day tomorrow. And let me get, are you working on your birthday?
I am not. I am not. Absolutely not.
Man. That's the only
always take the birthday off. Always take the birthday off.
Oh, that is a nice tradition. I do the same. So, all right, hey, love you, brother. I will see you next Saturday.
Rock and roll cola, baby.
Take care, man. We'll see you soon. Okay, I'm gonna do the Patreon name draw here. If I can get, what? Can I get the Robert Hines band? Can I get a little bit of that tunage? Why I'm drawing the name? I know we have. What? My dream is to have Robert Hines. Time I do the live show. All right, now the rule is you got to be a Patreon member. Obviously, that's how I got your name. You have to tune in live, and Brother Matthew Rooney knows this. There's three strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Chris Kolowski, who is not attending the Christmas party, who lives not too far away from me, but he's been a Patreon supporter for a long time. Actually been supporting me since the Force Among Us days. I just know he's not here. We got to get the comments up here. Okay, I know a lot of you guys have tuned in. Brad Riverdale has chimed in. Rich Brendel, Dale Morris, Michael Adams. Michael Adams, are you tuning in live? Do you ever tune in live? We haven't did the physical name draw in a long time. I dropped the name, but it wasn't in my hand. Hey, Matthew Rooney, you won. Matthew, you fucking won the prize, brother. Hey, and this was not rigged. This was not rigged tonight. You made a comment.
I also commented just to be safe, just to let you know.
Just to let you know you're here. Hey, again, man, thank you so much for everything you do behind the scenes. This is kind of full circle because before we went live tonight, you had said that I pulled your name the first live show that you had joined, but you weren't tuning in live. And that was meant to be. That was meant to be.
Yeah.
I got something nice I'm going to send you. Before we end the show, what is your most favorite moment from Return of the Jedi? The one moment when you watch the film, you're like, wow, man. I'm like, hits me every time.
My favorite is when Luke throws the lightsaber away.
Yes.
That's the best part because he's just like, no, like I'm not going to do it. And that's the end of it,
Yeah.
And it's funny that people got upset about Last Jedi and throwing the lightsaber away. I mean, I know it's a little different, but he did it before.
You know what's funny? Man, I just had I've never made that realization.
Yeah,
Because
people are
I
like,
got
he would
bored.
never do that, and I'm like, excuse me, he did that in the movies.
So meanwhile, all the haters are hating, and you're just sitting back laughing and going, "You guys
Yeah.
don't know what the fuck they're talking."
Yeah, have you seen Return of the Jedi? Maybe not.
Yeah, God, that is a great. Wow, how did that escape me? Yeah, he threw it away. And you know what? If you think about it too, in that moment in the sequels, when he threw it away, I don't blame him for throwing it away because, his nephew had failed him, and that really set up that whole awesome speech about Yoda coming in and saying, failure is the greatest teacher. And that really connected the way that he felt when he threw that lightsaber versus the way that he felt after Yoda had told him. Because even Luke was like, Yoda's talking to me, and every time Yoda talks, even though he talks backwards, if you will, he makes a lot of sense.
Well, and I like it when you get an older character like that who still has things to learn, because that's how I feel about myself. No matter how much I age, I still don't know everything, and I still am not all wise. So I appreciate it.
You know what? In a real life situation, aside from Star Wars characters, there was this great interview that I had read with Irvin Kershner, and he had talked about maturity. And he said, nobody's ever mature. We're always maturing because we're always learning, And that's exactly what you said. So you said what Irvin Kershner had said.
Yeah.
It's I think that's just a big part of life,
Yeah.
Big part of life. So anyways, man, thanks again for everything you do behind the scenes. I want to thank everybody for their support on Patreon, and of course the producers. You guys make it rock. I don't want to say I make it roll because that sounds very narcissistic, but you guys, I love you guys so much, and I thank you for getting me from here to there. And as Doc had said in Back to the Future, we're going. We don't need roads. And the sky's the limit here on Machtails from the Cantina. And I'm looking forward to hitting the 100th live show around the corner. So again, Matthew, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I know. Hey, what's in it? You got water in the glass? You got soda in the glass?
Crystal Light.
Hey, Crystal Light. Okay. I would think that. As long as you stay hydrated with something. Again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank all my guests on tonight's show. And We will catch you guys next time on a holiday edition of Mocktails from the Cantina Live. Be well, be safe. This is goodbye, or is it good night, but not goodbye, to misquote B. Arthur in the Star Wars Holiday Special. So long, everybody.